Hello, everyone. By now, you should have read the guidance for your term paper for PAD 700. This video really is just to give a push of encouragement for those who may have not conducted research in a while. It might be a little rusty. Some of you, this information will be redundant, but I do encourage all of you to walk through each of the slides and maybe you'll learn something that you didn't know before. So we'll start here with a few resources that I will encourage you to use to conduct your research. And first, these are the public administration journals. These are sort of commonplace to our discipline. If you go to most of those links, if you're behind the CUNY or John Jay College firewall, meaning you've logged into our library or some form of logging into the John Jay systems, then you'll have free access to these publications. The first there is the Journal of Public Administration and Theory, and draw your eyes all the way down to the bottom, Public Integrity. There's not one particular journal that I'm encouraging you to explore. I'm actually encouraging you to explore all of them and see what these journals are saying about your problem and use them to your benefit. That way, as you're conducting a journal research, you don't have to go to the entire atmosphere, but I'm giving you a list of trusted journals for our profession. And then there's also research centers and think tanks. So the most common ones are listed here, but at the bottom of this list, you'll see that there's also a curated list, which will include these four. So the University of Pennsylvania has curated a list of think tanks. I think you should take a look at that. If you don't want to go through the entire list, try to stick to the four that are here. They're trusted. They do great research, and I would not disagree with much of what they have to say if you're putting that into your term paper. All right, so let's move on. There's also sources provided to you by CUNY, right? So there's the CUNY OneSearch. If you haven't used our library system before, I encourage you to. It's easy, accessible, and once you log into CUNY OneSearch, the journals that I talked to you about before, you'll be able to download all of those articles for free. Then there's the Government Accountability Office, which is a policy analysis group, if you will. They conduct all types of program evaluations, policy analysis, investigations on behalf of the U.S. Congress. So when you land on their webpage, they have a nice box that if your topic is homelessness, if you type in homelessness, all of their reports will pull up, and they have a nice one pager on all of their reports. The hint, hint, that has facts at the national level, sometimes at a state level, sometimes at a local level. So if you're looking for quick facts, then I would encourage you to start maybe at GAO's website. And all of these other sources are helpful as well. Data.gov tends to have raw data, but sometimes you can also find detailed reports from that portal. It's basically a portal where all of the federal agencies connect their data sets to. So it's sort of like Google for government data. And then there's the last one here on the list is Google Scholar. If you've never used it before, it's a great way to access articles that might be free on the internet without having to log into CUNY OneSearch. I encourage you to use both Google Scholar and OneSearch. If you're looking to get the article for free, obviously, log into OneSearch. And so this piece here, citing sources and avoiding plagiarism. This could be the difference between you making an A or failing or receiving a failing grade on the term paper. I take it serious, so I'm encouraging you to take it serious. And for that reason, I'm providing you with some resources that I think you should look at before you start the writing part of your research. Right now, you're probably just gathering articles and reading and highlighting and making notes. So that's fine. As you do that, take a look at these tutorials. Now, they may seem a little bit condescending because I think they were designed for undergraduate students, but never mind that. get the content and get the point that's trying to be relayed in the tutorials. They're pretty easy, pretty short, but it will give you a sense of the expectation for this assignment. And if you have any questions or things are not demystified for you with the tutorials and you'd like for me to answer those questions for you, I can do that during my office hours. Just reach out to me. And then the last piece I want to talk about is the current section of the term paper that you're working on, part one. So here on the screen, you have the guidance for part one. Now, you may not know where to begin, or even just reading the guidance, it might seem overwhelming. Always start your writing process with an outline. And for this part of the term paper, the outline is staring you in the face. And what I mean by that is these questions that are in bold, simply use these questions as the meat of your outline. So you take those 5 questions, and then you make sure once you have the outline that you then read the detail for that section and make sure that the content that you're inserting in that section addresses not just the question, but the detailed specifics that are listed for that question. That's how you start the writing. The outline really allows you not to think about the whole piece of content as one piece, but to divide it up and maybe just work on what is the problem for one day or 2 or 3. And then shift your attention to part 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's just a nice sort of organized way to write that I would encourage you to do that moving forward through your matriculation. So that's how you start. You get the outline, which is kind of already provided for you. I would also mention for part 1, 2, and 3, do not provide me with an introduction and a conclusion. You will do that at the end of the semester once you've written part 1, once you've written part 2, and once you've written part 3. The introduction is like an executive summary, right? So there's no way you can actually write a proper introduction for your term paper this early in the semester. So I'm only looking for the content. It's a draft, right? So it doesn't have to be finished. You don't have to give it bookends of an intro and a conclusion. That's just giving me more to wade through. So I'm not interested in that. I am interested in 1 through 5, those 5 questions. And defining the problem, I just wanted to cover this one point and the video's done. But here's how you frame your writing. I want you to drill down from national statistics to the selected jurisdiction. So let's just use the example that you've selected New York City as your jurisdiction. So, and homelessness as the problem that you're focusing on. Tell me what's going on at the national level, then drill down to the state level, and then talk to me about the specifics of the local level. You don't have to give me a whole lot around national and state, but at least give me that context so that I can understand where New York City fits into the bigger frame. And if this doesn't make sense, read through the example that I have here on this slide, and I think it will click. And if you have any questions about how to drill down, just keep in mind that the literature review that you're doing should give you all of the information you need to do a nice, clean drill down before you get into the specifics of your jurisdiction. If you have any questions, reach out to me.